guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Toni and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids. And I'm gonna talk today about my favorite subject of all times. Okay, it's not my favorite. I don't even like teaching it at all. Math. Do you guys like math? No. I don't like math. I don't like teaching math. If you've watched any of my videos, you've probably heard that 100 times. I'm not a big fan of teaching math. When my kids get stumped and I can no longer explain how to do that in any more ways, that's when I get frustrated and kind of want to roll up in a ball and cry. But we have to teach math to our kids, right? Okay, I have tried multiple different maths over the years. We started off with Singapore math when my daughter was younger. We did that for a couple years. Then we switched to Christian Light Education, which we really loved. We did a little bit of teaching textbooks just because my daughter wanted to try out the whole computer, online math. Then we tried Math UC because everybody said Math UC was like the best. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people said Math UC was the best. So we tried that out. Okay, guess where I'm back to? Christian Light Education. So I'm gonna give you a flip through today of Christian Light because I'm so excited to be back to Christian Light Education. I've tested the waters in a handful of different curriculums and have really found that Christian Light Education is the best math curriculum for us. I really love it. It's solid. It's not flashy. It is what it is. It's straightforward. It's workbooks. It is easily explained to the child. There's so many good things about it for math. It's really good. So this video is in partnership with Christian Light Education, and I'm really excited to be partnering with them this year. So I'll be showing you a handful of different videos with the different things we're doing with Christian Light Education this year. We're doing a few different subjects with them, and I'm really excited to be partnering with them. But today's all about math. So let's flip the camera around, and I will show you inside of Christian Light Education's math. We have 3 different levels of Christian Light Education's math. The first thing I'm going to show you are these reference charts. These are really, really awesome. I have one for grades 2 through 6. So I'll give you a little close-up of this. They're nicely laminated. So this has the multiplication tables on it. Using the tables to divide multiplication names, division names, multiples, expanded numbers, math symbols, variable, negative numbers, subtraction names, addition names, fractions, and mixed numbers. This is another really awesome thing because we've already needed to use this year. It's got a number line on the bottom. When we were trying to add negative numbers, it was so nice to be able to pull this out and just have this on this handy sheet. Then on the back here, you have a ruler in inches, and then here you've got millimeters and centimeters here. Then we've got metric and US measures. We've got liquids, weight, temperature, geometry, polygons, angles, all that stuff. Then we've got equal times, days of the month, days in a week, and clock. So this is all the stuff that will be covered in grades 2 through 6, and it's just really nice. This is just a couple dollars. I think these were maybe $3 a piece, but they're so handy. I'm so glad I got them. Then I have this one for grades 5 through 8. This is the intermediate. And some of these do overlap for my girls because I have girls that are doing 3rd grade, 5th grade, or level 3, level 5, and level 6 for math. So some of my girls are using stuff on both charts. So like my 5th grader, she's had to use both charts. So we kind of just keep them together for everybody. So this has the metric system, which is going to be quite helpful. We've got metric measurements, capacity, mass, square roots. We've already used that for a help at one point. We've got equivalent fractions, decimals, and percents, other measures, prime and composite numbers, common symbols, distance formula, checking with digit sums, divisibility rules. Then on the back here is all the geometry things that they'll need to know. Raisin lines, triangle, quadrilaterals, degrees, formula. Then algebra, we've got properties, proportions, 4 ways to show multiplication, 3 ways to show division, and set terms and symbols. So this is just really helpful if your child, whether they're good at math or struggle with math, I think these are just handy to have. So I really love it. They also offer these flashcards, which are really nice in these nice cardboard boxes. I actually didn't get these this year. I had gotten these last time, and they've made it through multiple kids and a few different years of using this. So this is addition and subtraction, but these are nice big flashcards. So you can see on one side it has the math problem, and then on the other side it has the answer, real small. So they're really nice and easy to just flip through and show them, so she can just quiz herself. Sometimes I quiz her, but sometimes she quizzes herself. So this is all mixed up with addition and subtraction, but I love how big they are. They're just really nice. So yeah, here's a subtraction one. So that's what those look like. And it's a really nice sturdy box to keep them in. So these are multiplication and division flashcards. These aren't set up quite the same. I'm not sure if there's a smarter way to do this, but what I did was I just used Post-its and put, so they can easily pull out what they need, and I just divided them like that. So the ones times table, they have them out of order, 5, 12. You can see what they've been working on. But I just put them in order, so they just grab the stack that they need. These are a little bit smaller. So they've got multiplication on one side and then division on the other side. So like 1 times 10 here, the answer is going to be tiny and on the back. And then if you're doing division, 10 divided by 10, the answer is tiny on the back. So when I do show them, because they could figure out what the answer is, I usually hold it like this and cover up the answer so that they can't cheat. So, but if you compare the two, just so you can see, this is the size difference. You've got that versus that. So they're about a little bigger than half the size, but they work really nicely too. It's been so nice. I have my big girls that they're not asked to do flashcards, but I still have them do these. The level that they're in hasn't asked them to do it yet, so I'm not sure if they'll be doing it later this year, but I think this is important, so I have them keep doing this. So those are the flashcards, just so you can see what those look like. So the next thing I'm going to show you are the actual light units. So I have 3 different levels here, just so you can see. I've got level 3, level 5, and level 6. So your child will get 10 light units. So level 3 will have 10 of these books. So this is 302. The first book, I'm not really going to give you a flip through of these, but these are all pre-test. The whole entire book is pre-test. I've actually never done the first book before, because we take such a short summer break that we usually go from the previous year, we take like a month off, and then we just skip to book 2, because book 1 is all pre-test. So if you get this little pre-test right, it will show you, when you get over here, it gives you your things that you're supposed to do, and then it says either I passed the pre-test in lesson 1, now I'm going to go on to these pages, or if they didn't pass it, then they're going to do the entire next lesson. So if you're going from like level 3 to level 4 with a very short summer break, you really can get away with skipping level 1, in my opinion, the book 1, and just order 302 to 310. Otherwise, if you want to make sure, these have been awesome this year because we did not use Christian Light last year. So these tests have been so good to show my girls what they need to fill in the gaps before we move on to new lessons. So I have enjoyed having those this year. So I'm going to give you a flip through of each of these books real quick so you can see what a basic light unit looks like. So this is the level 3 light unit. Like I said, this is 302. So this would be book 2. These are really small. And the nice thing I like about having light units as opposed to one book is as soon as they finish one book, instead of having like one big math book, as soon as they finish this book, they have that sense of accomplishment. Oh, I get to move to a new light unit, and they just love it. It's always been just kind of a, I don't know, a big encouragement to them. So I really like having the different light units. So this starts out, it's got notes to the teacher on how to use this book and how to grade the different things, scoring, and what the symbols mean. And then we've got our contents of what it goes over. You guys can look that up online, so I'm not going to take the time to go over what the contents are, but I'm just going to give you kind of a quick flip through. The levels sometimes do have stories like this where it's like a theme for the whole book. So this one is My Pet, Your Pet, so you'll probably have pets throughout the entire light unit. So what that means is a lot of the story problems are going to have to do with pets. You know, here we've got, this talks about a pet store. So that just gives you the theme of the book. So at the top of each page in the beginning of the lesson, it has a box where they are going to check off as they do each of these things. So she's got to count forward and backward by 10s to 100. That's something she can do by herself. That's one thing I love about this curriculum. It is very independent. She can do it to me if she'd rather, or if you want to work with your child, that's fine. But if you have multiple kids, this is awesome. So she does that. Then she has to practice her G and ×1 flashcards for 5 minutes. We should just set a timer, and she goes ahead and practices those. Then you do speed drill number 1 on page 61. So the speed drills are in the back of the book. Here are the speed drills. So this is what this is. So this is number correct in 1 minute. So typically you're going to time them 1 minute and say, ready, set, go. They're going to just answer these as quick as they can. And it's really good and helpful. Now, one thing that I do, if my child struggles with multiplication, like my 3rd grader hasn't done a lot of multiplication really at all yet. So this is all new to her. I'm going to give her 2 minutes here. So I just crossed that off and I read it too. You can make this whatever you want it to be. If 1 minute is too stressful and not long enough, make it a minute and a half, make it 2 minutes, whatever you need to do. So that's what I've always done, but I want them to get to where they can do it in a minute. So this is a speed drill. Each speed drill, it's only that long. So they are going to do it, and see, some days it's addition, subtraction, multiplication. It's different every single day. So that's the speed drills. Then after that, let's go back to our first lesson. After they finish their speed drill, lesson 1, it says record your score in the graph on page 60. So as soon as they finish their speed drills, the page before that, they have a graph. Sometimes it's a bar graph, sometimes it's a line graph. So this is just another way of teaching them graphing. They've had pie charts. Every book is different with what the graph is going to look like. It's not always going to be the same. So this is kind of cool. So they just fill in, they have to learn how to graph this, and they're going to fill in which lesson it is. So lesson 1, and if they got 25 right, they're going to fill this bar all the way over to 25. So so that's just a nice way to keep track and for them to see how well they're doing and if they need to work a little bit quicker. Then they move on to the lesson. So the lesson is very directed towards the child. It is not something that mom really needs to sit, unless you have a child that really struggles with maybe reading. If your child can read confidently, they can really do these lessons by themselves. So a lot of times my girls didn't need me at all unless they really got stuck on something. So this tells you step by step. Step 1, you're going to do this. Step 2, you're going to do this. This is the lesson. Step 3, you're going to do that. And then step 4, you're going to do that. Then it's going to say you're going to put it into practice. So follow the steps above to solve these story problems. Remember to mark the checklist. So they've got a space over here to do their work. And then this is where they write their answers. And I like that it shows a line for their number and then the word. Because a lot of times my kids will forget, how many goldfish. They'll just write 4 instead of 4 goldfish. So I just go through and star the pages when they get it right, or circle it, and we work together if they get something wrong. This next section is called We Remember. This is all review from what they've done in previous lessons or in previous books. And that's one thing I love about this. It is spiral. It is a spiral approach. So you're not going to learn something new and then stick with that new thing forever. They're going to keep going back and doing stuff that they've done before. So we've got multiple digit addition problems here. This is like where you read these and you decide which one. Process of elimination, I'm not sure what the math term is, but where you figure out what it is by knowing what it's not, and they cross it off and circle the answer. We've got subtraction here, and they always give you space. Now, one thing that I do, some of my girls, especially one of them, she writes a whole lot bigger, so these spaces are kind of hard for her, and sometimes kids struggle with lining stuff up right. So I actually bought like a cheap graph paper book, and they will do their work in here and then just write the answer here, which I'm fine with as long as I can tell here where they did their work. So if it worries you about having such a small space, then just get them some graph paper and that solves that problem. So, but they do usually give you a box. It's only a struggle when your child writes really big or messy or just has trouble lining stuff up. So this just is, I mean, it's got measurements, writing numbers with words, largest number. It's all mixed up. So it's all, it's just a nice spiral of everything that they have covered in the past. They've got a fact focus, which is like the speed drill, except you're not timed. And that was lesson 1. So I'll give you a quick flip through of the rest of this just so you can see, but they're all going to have a lesson in the beginning and then we remember afterwards. A lesson, some practice, and then we remember. So that's basically the gist of this. Here is another thing I want to show you. Their tests and their quizzes are in the middle of the book. So usually we will just pull these out and put them in a folder, but they've got their test here. This one might have the quiz at the back, but this is the test that you'll take at the end of the book, and it's going to look a lot like the lessons that they did. So that's the test, and then that's the back of the test. So it's got 1, 2, 3 pages of a test. So we just pull that out and put that in a folder, and then they keep working. So the quizzes, I will show you real quick before I keep flipping through. The quizzes are at the back of the book. So some of the older books, I think they're both in the middle, but it's a perforated paper, and the quiz is usually just front and back. The test is a little bit longer, but it's all stuff that they've gone over, and that's your quiz. The nice thing is it does say on here how many points to take off of each problem, so it's pretty easy for mom to grade. And there's quiz 2. So there's 2 quizzes. If you don't want to do quizzes, you don't have to do it, but I do like doing quizzes so they're ready for their test. So I'm going to keep flipping through here. Okay, so there's 15 lessons. 16 is going to be the unit test, and then 17, sometimes they have it just for fun, which honestly we don't always do. I just have them be done. I don't make them do the just for fun stuff. So that is basically what a light unit looks like. So just so that you can get an idea of the different levels, I'll give you a quick flip through of level 5, but it's going to be the same setup as the level 3. So this one is nice. They have sometimes reference things in the front of stuff they're going to need to be doing throughout the book. So it's nice to have that in the front. So this whole book is going to be about Romania. So they have a little thing to read about it, and then the rest of the book is going to be about that. Here we've got our lesson here, and the only thing they're going to be doing is Mastery Drill 1, which should be, instead of a speed drill, in this level, they have a mastery drill. So that is more of measurements and shapes and things. So that's the mastery drill. Then they've got speed drills. So they mix that up a little bit. Then we've got addition, subtraction. Then we've got, see, I love that this stuff is reviewed. Water boiling temperature, freezing temperature, kilometers versus meters, all this stuff. I feel like my kids forgot a lot of that last year because they did not have this spiral approach in what they used last year, and I really missed that. I feel like having to do this all the time helps you remember how many milligrams are in a gram. It's just, I love this, and that's one of my favorite things about this math. So here, while we're here, I'll show you, this is a quiz in the back of this page. And see, they give you plenty of space if you don't write too big to do your problems here. So that's the back of the quiz. Then we've got quiz 2 here. Story problems there. Even the story problems are going to talk about things that have to do with Romania, possibly, you know, shearing sheep and stuff. Then we've got fractions and different things back here. So those are the 2 quizzes. So let me flip through the rest of this book so you can see what an older book looks like. So this was level 5. There's the We Remember section here, skill builders. Then we're on to level 2. So level 2, we've got our lesson, up to here, some practice, then we remember. Here's the test in the middle of the book. So this is what their test looks like. So we've got 1 page, 2 pages. This one's 3 pages, just like the other one. Okay, so now we've got, so there were 15 lessons. Lesson 16 is the test, and then if you want to do lesson 17, it's just a fun thing at the end. And then you're done with your light unit and you get to move on to the next one. On the back, they have where you can put the date issued, date completed, days to complete the light unit, test score. I typically just fill in date completed and test score for me. So that's level 5. Now we'll take a peek at level 6, which is still going to be pretty similar. So here they've got some symbols and formulas that are going to be in this light unit. This is math and economics and computing, so the whole book is going to be about that theme. And this is what it looks like. We've got our lesson, we've got some practice, and then we've got we remember. There's our quiz. So you get to that test, you get to this lesson where it tells you, tell your teacher when you're ready to take quiz 1. And then quiz 1 also has kind of a fun thing that I don't always make my kids do. They can if they want, sometimes they do want to, but if they do well in their quiz, it doesn't matter. It's just a fun thing since it's a short lesson. Actual lessons, then there's 2 quizzes and 1 test, which gets you to, would that be right, 13, 14, 15? Yeah. So that gets you to 16, where you would take your light unit test. And then she's got a little thing that she can do at the end. Here's quiz 1, which is in the back. And there's quiz 2. And that's the end of that light unit. So this is what a teacher's guide looks like. This is the Math 3 teacher's guide. The teacher's guides are pretty awesome. So we've got the introduction there, light unit overview. Then this is the basics. It has lesson preparation. It has where you can sit and talk to your child about what you're going to be talking about in the light unit. And then it tells you about the drill, what you're going to be doing with the child. All this stuff can be done with your child. You can read this together. I will tell you how I do it. I don't do any of this. I basically just use this for grading because they do the lesson on their own, but you can do all this together. This has the answers to the speed drill, which I will call out once they do their speed drill. I call it out and have them check it. Then it has a picture of their page. So this looks exactly like their page that they did in their book. So when you grade, it is so easy. This is my favorite grading book of all the math books I've ever used because it's it's so easy to grade. Some of the other ones you had to, find the number, and I don't know. I just found them annoying. But this tells you exactly how to do it. It gives you the solution so you can see if they got something wrong. Why did they get wrong? Oh, they forgot to carry the 1 or whatever. It's very helpful to be able to grade their light unit. So that's basically what it is. It's pictures of their light unit. It does have helpful hints, like this right here says students may have forgotten their math facts over the summer. A good spare time activity is to have them play flashcard games together. Who can win the most flashcards by saying them correctly? How can they win together? How about a speed drill with the flashcards? So they do have some fun things like that. So there's different things that you can do if you want to beef this up and add a little bit more to the curriculum, but you can also just do what's in the light unit and grade their stuff. So that kind of depends on the child and what they need or what you want to do. So here we've got lesson 3. It tells you what mom can do if she needs to explain anything, some helpful hints. And then we have their pages here in the book. And then you're on to lesson 4. So that's what this whole book looks like. I'm not going to flip through the entire thing, but that is what it looks like inside of this teacher's book. But it's super helpful and awesome, and you absolutely need the teacher's guide. Definitely need the teacher's guide. Even if you're just going to use it for grading, you do need it. Now, I'm going to show you something in the back of the teacher's guide here, which is amazing. So they do have their appendix here. So if you need to look up and you're trying to, your child is struggling, because this is a spiral approach, sometimes they might forget when they learned how to find area and it's not in the actual light unit that they're going over. It maybe was in, say they're in 607, they forgot how to do area, they had covered that in 603. That's when your teacher's guide comes in handy, because you can look it up. You can go to page 210 in here and you can reteach the lesson or just remind them how to find the area. So the appendix is awesome for that, because there are times, because this is broken up in little light units, there are times when something they're asked to do in here was covered in a different lesson. So it's not something they can just look up in here, because it might have been done in a different book, in a different light unit. So it's helpful to use the teacher's guide for that. Or those reference charts that I got, those are really helpful for that too. So this is something that I've only had to use a handful of times over the years, but I am so glad to have them. If they take a test and you are not happy with their score, you're not ready for them to move on to the next lesson, or if they completely bomb the test, or if they spill coffee all over the test, or something happens, there are alternate light unit tests in the back of the book. All you have to do is photocopy this. It is the same exact stuff that's covered in the test, just different numbers, but the same exact thing. So if you went over what they got wrong on the test, and let's say, they missed this entire section, they can still retake the test. You can count this as the score, throw the other one in the trash, and this is your new light unit. So you just photocopy this, and that's their light unit test. So there is an alternate light unit test for every single test. And I don't know if all curriculums do that, but I so appreciate that. And I just think that is wonderful, because if some kids might just have a bad day, or they might have completely forgotten how to do their multiplication facts that day and bomb the test, they don't have to keep that score. That's the beauty of homeschooling. You can help them remember how to do that, give them a new test. If they pass that test, we can pretend like that bad one didn't happen. You may not be okay with that in your homeschool, but that's the way I do it. So I want to encourage them to do their best. And if they can learn how to do it and correct it, then that's what we're going to go with. So that's all the light unit tests that are in the back of the book here. They've got an appendix here that's just a little bit more, it's just a different setup, I guess, than the other appendix. This is the flashcard system. So this actually teaches you how to set up the flashcard system for level 3, because like I said, it's first grade. If you bought it in first grade and then you want to use the same flashcards, there's a different way to set it up. So that's pretty cool that that's in the back of the book. So here there is an appendix for extra practice sheets. So if your child is totally not getting logic, they're not understanding it, then you go back here to these practice sheets and you photocopy these logic practice sheets and have them work on that. And then they've got all the answers here, just like they do in the other thing. So then you find 6 and 7. Here's the answers for those logic practice sheets. So they just have so much extra help. And that's something that I have not seen in other curriculums that I really love. Here's a whole page on carrying. If your kid is not getting carrying, take a day, put the lesson aside, put the light unit aside, photocopy this, pull this out, and just have them work on this. Just work on carrying the entire day. That's all it is. Setting up problems. Like, it just is, it's there to help the child that might be struggling with something. You know, if they're not getting the clock and there's only like 1 or 2 clocks in each lesson, do a whole page of it. So this is really, really awesome to help with anybody that's struggling with anything. A whole thing on temperature. These are just on the same subject, place value, you know, stuff like that, that they can just work on getting some extra stuff. So they do have the math reference chart in the back of the book. which is the same exact thing as this, but I will tell you, having this laminated sheet out on the table, so they're not having to pull out my whole entire book and look at this, and this is just a piece of paper, so if you're using this every day, I would be worried it would tear out. I would recommend getting this, but if you don't feel like getting it, this is in the back of the book, so that is nice that they give you that. So that is what the teacher's guide looks like. It's a nice binding. I have used other curriculums where the binding falls apart. This level 3 has been through, I'm on the 3rd kid using level 3 right now, and this is still in amazing shape. So I do love the quality of the books too. I'm not going to give you a flip through of all of the teacher's guides because they're all set up exactly the same. The only thing I want to show you is, if you noticed in the level 3 book, it was just one book. In the level 5 book, we've got 501 to 505. So the first 5 light units, this is the teacher's guide. So this one can be put away for the first half of the year. The second 5 light units that your child will use at the end of the year or the second half of the year, this is the light units. You'll put this one away and you'll only use this. This is the teacher's guide for that. So I like that they split it up because I guess with the larger levels, there's going to be harder things. So there's going to be more content that the teacher needs to go over. So I like that they split these up, but these are basically, I'll show you one quick lesson here just so you can see. They're set up very, very similar. I haven't really noticed much of a difference. So here, there's a lesson here. It's got some stuff for you to discuss in case you want to go over stuff with them when they're older or just teach the lesson. There is their page. It's got some bookwork if you want to, like I said, if you want to teach the lesson, helpful hints. They do have a place for teacher's notes, so which is nice. I think I've only used that once or twice. Knowing that you're going to be teaching this to multiple kids, if you've got multiple students, you'll be using this down the road and you're like, oh, I think that's helpful, you can write it in there. But so it's nice that they have those, and there's the end of it, and then there's the next lesson. So it's basically the same exact setup as the other ones, except it has the mastery. Instead of just the speed drills, it does have mastery drills, but it's got answers to those in here too. This also has the reference charts here. It has extra practice sheets. It has the quizzes. It has everything that you need. It's basically the exact same setup of those. It just has 2 different books. And the same thing with level 6. We've got teacher's books 601 to 605. Then I'll pull this out for 606 to 610. So that is what the teacher's guides look like. So that is a sneak peek inside of Christian Light Education's math. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was thorough enough without being too much. But I love being able to see inside of curriculum. If I'm on the fence, it is always helpful to be able to see inside of what the curriculum looks like and how it actually works. If you have any questions about how I use this or any questions about this curriculum at all, please feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section and I will do my best to answer your questions. Even though this video is in partnership with Christian Light, I want you guys to know you are always going to get my full 100% honest opinion on this curriculum. That's what they want. They want me to give you the truth about this, and I want to make sure you guys always trust what I say. And I really do love this curriculum for math. It's really great. So it's really helpful. I would say if you are a mom that hates math, this is really great because it teaches it to the student. And that is one of my favorite things, that it teaches to the student. It is not a mystery as to, oh, how did they get that answer? It's all in the book. It's all in the teacher's guide. It's really awesome. One more thing I forgot to mention, this is a really affordable curriculum. Check out their website to see how much stuff is, but these light units are like, I think $3.50 each maybe. And then even the teacher's guides, I don't remember, I'm not sure how much they are this year, but they used to be like $10.50. I don't remember how much I paid for them. It's not much. This is not one of those curriculums that's going to break the bank, which is amazing because it's such high quality and it's so academically sound. I just love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know what you have used for Christian Light Education. Do you use their math, or what do you use? I will also be doing a flip through very soon of their reading because my kids are all using Christian Light's reading this year, and the K2, the kindergarten too. keep your eye out. If you like Christian Light, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you're notified every time one of those videos comes out on Christian Light, on homeschooling, on how I do this and how I stay sane. And I'm thrifty, so if you like thrifty stuff too, then make sure you subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.